I'm a homeschool mom of 6 boys, and I want to show you what an early summer homeschool day looks like in my life. As I go about my day, I'm going to be sharing 3 of our current homeschool challenges and 3 of our current homeschool wins. I think that they might be relatable, and maybe the wins will inspire you. One of our wins right now is definitely our poetry memorization. My kids have been really enjoying memorizing poems, and they have a little bit of an incentive to do so. I have some organic lollipops, and once they get a poem memorized and can recite it for me, they get to enjoy a lollipop. So that's been really fun. My kids are getting up nice and early with the sun rising so early right now, and so we can generally get all their schoolwork done really easily in the morning. Everyone has different requirements and things that they need to do, and one of my biggest challenges is just making sure that I don't go on too many side quests while I'm supposed to be helping them homeschool. Another challenge for us right now is just wrangling the 1-year-old and the 2-year-old because they are both very busy little boys and they like to climb things and they like to try to leave. So keeping everybody contained on the front porch kind of hits that little I want to be outside without me having to monitor where they're going in the yard while we do homeschool.
When you count, 2, 4, 6, 8. See how everyone is blank, and then there's a green one? Then look, it makes a pattern.
My older 2 sons are quite independent with a lot of their daily homeschool work, but on this day, my oldest had just done a math test for his pre-algebra course, so I had to just take a little minute and sit and check it over and make sure he was ready to move on to the next chapter. He's using Denison pre-algebra, and we are absolutely loving it. Denison is definitely another one of our homeschool wins. We're starting to get him used to the bed in the nursery, but I totally need to clean it out. Maybe that'll be next week's homemaking video. Last year, I was in treatments for stage 3 breast cancer, and so I am currently trying to get back into the swing of things, but there's still a lot of homemaking things that just have gone to the wayside. Even simple things like our drying racks for clothes fell apart because they were old and I haven't replaced them yet. So I'm trying to make this spring and summer be really homemaking oriented and check all those things off the list that have just not been happening as much over the past year or so while I was pregnant and in cancer treatments. And then I'm also just trying to give myself a lot of grace because it's really not a big deal and these things are gonna get done. Last week, a couple of my friends and I were cleaning at our friend's house because she was in the hospital having a baby, and we wanted her to come home to a really sparkling, clean house that she could relax and recover in. We noticed that when we were cleaning somebody else's house, we didn't have any negative self-talk like, oh, how could I have let it get this dirty? And so I've just been really trying to recreate that in my own home when I'm cleaning and just enjoy the process and not feel bad. I mentioned that my older 2 are quite independent now, But if I have an opportunity, I do like to come alongside them as they work or even listen in on their absolutely fascinating courses. I just love hearing Joseph Pierce talk about pretty much anything. And my son is doing a literature course with him on Homeschool Connections on The Hobbit, which has been really fun. That definitely counts as a homeschool win for us right now. Another huge homeschool win for us right now is that some of my kids are making a lot of progress with reading, and so they're kind of emerging as readers, and that has been really exciting to watch and witness. And it just gives you encouragement as a mom, especially if there's some special needs going on. My third biggest homeschool challenge is storage and organization. I am not a naturally organized person, and our storage space is quite limited in our 1907 home, which is fine because our home's adorable, but we do have to get a little bit creative and also really try to limit how much homeschool materials we just keep around. I recently got rid of all of our levels of Matthew C because my son, who did Matthew C and who loved Matthew C, is too old for it. And my next kids are really enjoying Math with Confidence, and I'm happy for them to be using that program. That's it. It's gone. I would have loved to have just held on to it just in case, but I needed the storage space in that cabinet for the things that we're actually loving and using. I think that for a lot of homeschool moms, just that fear of missing out can be a huge factor. And so we can have a tendency to look at what other people are doing and want to do that or feel like we need to do that. And then maybe we overbuy a little bit, or even if we're just adding things on that is good and is working, but it's not necessarily something that we needed or had time for, or that works really well for our children. I think this year I did a really good job of not adding too many extra things on. We did do one little geography unit study that I added on at the last minute, but mostly we just stuck to our normal, consistent things that we really needed to do. I've been seeing a lot of chit chat lately online about whether or not people are doing homeschool during the summer. There always seem to be people who school year round or different things like that. I find that I do best with a proper summer break, but even though I really want to start my summer break, at the beginning of May, I do need to keep up homeschool light or homeschool spring version even during planting season. And as we get into beach weather, I still keep up with reading, writing, and arithmetic at a minimum for a few days of the week, because if we don't do that in May and June and July and August, and then even in September, the weather's still so beautiful, that's just too long of a break. And while it's so fun to do that many beach days, the kids get all off their rhythm if you're incredibly inconsistent and don't have a good summer rhythm and routine. They even do get a bit bored too, so it's just nice to do school throughout June even if you take a day off here or there to just go to the beach, or if you make sure to just get it done in the morning and then go to the beach in the afternoon, all of that works out really, really well. And then taking more like an 8-week break or a 6-week break for the times that we're traveling and camping and running retreats and running VBS during the summer. I do really love to have a few different fun activities for them in the summertime. One of the things that I am eyeing right now from Book Outlet is some really fun Mad Libs, and I'll let you know how that goes. I liked doing them as a kid. I know they were all the rage when I was around in the 5th grade, but we'll see if my kids like them because I have never done them with them before. I just want to encourage you while I'm washing my dishes, if you don't have something taken out for supper, if you have forgotten that it's garbage day tomorrow, now is your moment. Let's just quickly get up, get that thing done. My friend likes to say, eat the frog, whatever is that task that you're kind of putting off and it's kind of weighing on your shoulders or hanging over your head. That's the one that you should do first. You're going to have a great win, and then you're going to feel more successful. I just hate starting dinner with a dirty kitchen, but now that my cleanup is done, I'm going to begin. Boneless, skinless chicken thighs is definitely one of those versatile meats that you can use in a lot of different recipes. I like to keep some on hand because I like to be able to pull off some really easy meals, especially in the summertime. So I'm just adding some olive oil, some onion, some garlic, and I did throw in some leftover mushrooms that I had in my fridge. And of course, good Redmond's high quality salt. That's gonna taste delicious no matter what I do with this chicken tonight. It doesn't even matter. All those things will taste good. So I don't have to have my mind made up ahead of time. I can just start the chicken. For dinner tonight, I'm making one of the easiest recipes that's a huge crowd pleaser in my house. It's just a simple chicken curry. I love that I can make the chicken at any point when the baby's sleeping or I have free time. And then I can make the rice in my Instant Pot as I go, and then it's ready. And then right at the last minute, I'll just mix up the curry. I had to get a babysitter last week because I had an appointment at the hospital, and afterwards I was able to sneak out to HomeSense and I grabbed some new tea towels. Guys, I don't know if it's every homemaker who gets excited about new tea towels, but I used to think tea towels were boring, and now I think they're really fun and exciting. When I saw that there was some that exactly match my kitchen blue, I had to grab them. I think they're gonna look so cute. I was really lucky today because my neighbor was able to come and take all the kids on a walk. I had a huge amount of extra dishes to wash because our dishwasher has not been working at all. Thankfully, my husband is quite good at fixing it, and so he's probably gonna fix it again. But I do not normally have to wash this many dishes. I just had a million dishes to wash today. I hear a lot of chit chat about doing homeschool all year round, and I am not a fan. I don't know if it's because we have such extreme winters. I just think it's so important to have an opportunity to enjoy summer. That said, even if I were a public school mom, I'm sure I would be wanting my kids to use their brains a little bit in the summer. And so I do always plan for some summer school, just not a lot. I need a break, and the kids need a break as well. I'm a huge fan of a traditional summer, I admit it. Since my kids are all out on a walk and my oldest is mowing for someone, I have an opportunity to sit down and work on my business. But of course, once the kitchen was clean, the baby was have a lot of free educational principles, so I get to work on my business with my adorable little business. Feel free to check them out. I'm just gonna make myself my mitochondrial formula, and I add some greens powder in there too. This is all the stuff that I do is from my integrative oncology naturopath, and so she specializes in helping people who have cancer, but obviously from a natural perspective. I have found her advice to be so helpful, so I'm definitely gonna stick with it.
Probably upstairs in the upstairs bathroom would be where.
It's almost dinner time now, so I'm just chopping up the fresh ginger that we need for our curry sauce. I absolutely love how easy this recipe is. I will link it below for you, but I don't even follow the recipe exactly. That's how flexible it is. I'm gonna add the broth from the chicken that it cooked in, and the ginger, some curry spice that I made myself, and a can of coconut milk. Sometimes I put different veggies in there. Today I am adding some chickpeas, and there was also mushrooms cooked in with the chicken.
Okay, show me your skipping.
In our routine right now, we've been doing a lot of walks, and a lot of the time I take them when it's just before bedtime, and sometimes I have to let my toddler walk around because he will sleep through the night if he has had a walk that day where he actually walks, not just sits in the stroller. But if he doesn't, then he will not sleep through the night. So it's really essential. Thank you so much for joining us today for some homemaking and
You smell it?
homeschooling. We will see you next week.